Good to go.
Adam, that must have been a pleasing way to go about a Sunday.
Yeah.
And, how do you see it coming about?
Oh, look, yeah, it was really pleasing and a fair bit of relief too. I reckon they're danger games. You're coming up against a team away from home. They've travelled across the country. They haven't won a game. They've been competing really well, but they haven't been getting the results. And you kind of, for the most part, and you kind of go, well, geez, if we don't show up, it could be a tough day. And so I was really pleased with the start of the game. I thought we, the contest in the clearance game was always going to be pretty decisive in this game. They'd had a really strong patch against the Lions in the first half 2 weeks ago, and we knew that if we allowed them to dictate that, then it'd be a tough game for us. So we started the game really well. We kind of found that out in the third quarter, to be fair. Their contest and their clearance game lifted, particularly at centre bounce. And they pinned us in our back half, really. And so that was kind of good to be able to sort of fight our way through that. But it was nice to be able to start the way and finish the game the way we did.
And you were able to control the ball. I think it was roughly 100 extra possessions.
Yeah.
Contested possessions. Was that looking forward to get that balance, or was that perhaps a bit...
I still don't think it was perfect. Not that it ever is going to be, but I thought in the second half we probably overused the ball a little bit too much handball, a little bit too rushed. Didn't sort of win the contest. As I said, got pinned in our back half, conceded too many entries. So I think offensively we kind of contributed to that. So I think probably part of that that possession count contributed to the way that the game looked, particularly in that third quarter.
Do you put something like that down to just the state of the game when you're in front by a considerable margin?
Maybe. It hasn't been a pattern for us, I don't think, but maybe, yeah.
Cogs was a lead out.
Yep.
So could you shed some light on it?
So Cogs just woke up yesterday morning after main training. No incident. He didn't report any soreness during Friday at all, and then just woke up Saturday morning with a bit of soreness in his glute. And so we tested him before the game, thinking he'd probably be okay, but he was just a bit worried about hamstring and glute stuff. So we decided, Callum Brown, we took him out of the VFL game as a precaution anyway. So it was going to be, he ended up being fine. We were going to play him a half actually, and we decided to pull the pin on the back of a phone call this morning, to be fair. So I think he'll be fine next week.
9 goals for Jesse. I mean, he didn't get that elusive 10 yet again. He's had a couple of times now, but I know we talk about it a lot in this room back at Giants HQ, but he's just ability to mark the ball and take those contested marks when maybe entries aren't quite perfect to turn things into really good looks. So it's what he does.
Yeah, his ability to mark the ball, as you say, is elite. We saw that last year. He seems to be able to launch and just hang on to marks that not a lot can. And maybe we sort of played at that a little bit too much today too, by bombing the ball in a little bit to him. But I like we have that option obviously. I like the spread of goals we had. I think we had 8 different goal kickers this week. Last week we had 4. I thought we were a bit harder to play on today. A lot more balanced in front of the ball, and Jesse, like he does often, reap the rewards of everyone pulling their weight.
Can you take us into the kind of hunger that Jesse shows? Obviously, missed the first 2 weeks of the year through a really innocuous little injury. I mean, even today we saw moments where maybe the ball wasn't coming in his direction. You could see him go, sort of get that really positive frustration in terms of knowing that he's in a hot streak. Like, what is that like to coach a player like that?
Oh, it's great, but you don't really have to do much to drive him. He's self-driven, hard worker, meticulous preparer. So he'll be down the recovery centre later on today. He'll be down the beach tonight and tomorrow morning. He does all the little things, and so we often use him as an example to our players around how we need to prepare ourselves. Whether it's recovery, whether it's body, whether it's watching tape, preparing for opposition players. He prepares as good as anyone.
As much as he commands the ball, especially when he's in that sort of form, he's still giving off that handball late in the game when he probably was chasing the 10.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a reflection of him. To be fair, I didn't realise he was on 9 goals, so I'm just thinking he's playing the game. But when you find out he's on 9 and he gives a handball off in the goal square, that's a reflection of the character and the person that he is, and he values team above his own individual performance and accolades. And so, as we said, there's a lot of aspects of him and his game that we use as an example to all our players, and that's just another one.
Earlier in the week you talked about being unsure where Jake McCartney might fit in that mix. What did you take out of this game?
I thought he had some really good moments down the line in contest. I thought he provided a really strong option for us, competed well, went in as a second ruck and looked to challenge around the stoppages. Won some really good hit-outs and followed up quite well. So I was pretty pleased with his game. Jesse gets all the goals in a sense, but it's a group effort. They've all got to play their roles ahead of the ball. They've all got to pull their weight, as I said, and I thought he did that well.
Still a small sample size, but how do you see Jake Stringer lining up with that attack?
He's playing a variety of roles ahead of the ball for us. So I'm more pleased than what I thought I'd be in terms of. I thought he might just fill 1 or 2, but he's managed to be able to do a few more, and so that gives me a lot of hope around our forward mix. We're going to be hard to play on ahead of the ball. He can play in a variety of positions that allow him to be a little bit more dangerous, or release others if they're on this hot streak that you talk about with Jesse.
Just on Aaron, obviously we keep seeing the steps he takes in his development, and
Yep.
again ahead of the ball, really creating a good contest. Didn't quite finish his work today, but what sort of signs are you seeing that he's slowly piecing everything together that it's going to eventually fall?
Well, he's presenting. He's playing like a key forward should, and some days are pretty tough. I thought they defended him well. Jimby was on him for the most part, and he's a really, really good player who's still developing, incidentally, but a really good player, I think. No split, presenting, fighting, follow up ground level. Would he kick 1 goal 3 today? So he's got to finish his work better than that, obviously. But we just want a contest ahead of the ball, and then when it's your moment to mark it. He's still got work to do. He can still generate more split. He can still clunk some balls down the line. I love it when he's launching at the ball. He looks at his best, and he's doing that more often than not. So he's developing nicely. Yep.
I know you kind of mentioned overall that there's still some things to work on. Like, where would you kind of rank that performance overall? Obviously, probably some goals left out there in the first half, and a few moments. Like, is it just it's all in the right direction, but you can probably see lots of signs for improvement as well?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you're never going to play the perfect game, so I need to remind myself of that. We did a lot of things really well today. We probably didn't, as I said, manage that third quarter well enough. Our centre bounce wasn't good enough. We rushed into their defence, and they created a bunch of front half turnovers, and we probably allowed them to rebound the ball a little bit too easily across the game, not just that quarter. So, there's 3 that we can tidy up.
We've talked a lot about attack today, but let's just flip it to the other side, to defence. How are you viewing the defensive pack right now, especially with Whitfield having a really, really good game today?
I think what's shown over the first month of the season is our ability to defend entries is really strong. I think we were second prior to the weekend. I'd imagine we're similar for scores against. We are conceding too many entries, and we know that. If another 55 today, that has to reduce if we want to become a team that is a legitimate finals contender, in my view. So, but our backs' ability, particularly, and our mids' work rate to help defend the entry is elite at the moment, and so that gives me great comfort. We need to help our backs more.
Darcy Jones, he obviously got a couple of tackles for you guys as well, and got a couple of goals. How are you kind of viewing just how he's looking now?
He hasn't hit the scoreboard the last 2 weeks. It was nice to see him hit the scoreboard again today, but I think we know what Darcy's best look like when he's pressuring, he's getting at the opposition, and then he's releasing into space and using his speed, and we saw a bunch of that today. So he'll get rewarded with some shots at goal and finishing his work well, particularly in that first quarter. I thought he was really, really good. But yeah, he's progressing nicely. We really like him. Played a bit of centre bounce today. He's played a bit of wing today. He's improving his game. He's developing.
Just quickly on, obviously, a really big day in the VFL as well.
Yeah.
With that, okay, that the squad's in a good spot to have this sort of result today, but then so many guys pushing for space.
Yeah, it's really nice. We're quite healthy. I think we've got 5 on our, or maybe 6 with Cogs now on our injury list. And so we've got a pretty healthy group, which is nice to have it in this early part of the season. We've got a lot of guys playing well and in form, both AFL and VFL, which is nice. They had a 100-point win today. And so that's all we ask. Be healthy and play well. And that's what our guys are doing. And it puts pressure on the senior group, and I'm sure it impacted their performance today.
And Brent Daniels, Suffolk just
Yep.
got a chance to put him on ice a bit earlier.
Yeah, he's been a bit sore. So, we thought we'd take the opportunity while we had it just to give him a little bit extra rest. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.